My name is Karina and welcome to the Karina Chronicles. Today we're going to prepare for Christmas, I would say, do a red color recommendation video. So I would say keep watching. I've done these color recommendations for purple and pink now, but I thought the last video before starting the Christmas season should be red, just to prepare. And I was very excited because I have read a lot of red books, pun unintended, by the way, but I've read a lot of red books. I didn't have that many red books on my TBR, but enough, because for these videos I always recommend 5 books that I read and really liked and 5 books that are very high on my TBR. And I was also excited because I have a million clothes pieces in red, but everything was in the laundry and I really needed to film it now, so this one is what it became. I hope you like it. Also, I was wearing purple lipstick for the purple video and pink lipstick for the pink one, and I have the most amazing red color lipstick. But I have been ill. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but my lips are completely shattered. So this pink one that I'm wearing now is actually feeding my lips instead of ruining them more. So the red lipstick needed to go. I'm sorry. But I have 10 books to talk with you about and they're incredible. So let's start. As usual, I will start with 5 books that I've read and that I actually really liked and that I would recommend to you in any way. The first one that I'm starting with is Spellslinger by Sebastien de Castell. I recommend this book because it is a YA fantasy with a male character, which doesn't really happen that often. And it has a very interesting magic system. The main character is actually this time not a very special snowflake that can do anything. He just can't really do anything. And he of course is really struggling with that. He is very insecure. So you see his interesting life in this magical society where he needs to perform. And we also learn this interesting magic. And all the books in this series have this very beautiful play card on the front in a different color. So not the whole series is red, just the first part. I'm really excited to read part 2, which is a dark blue. I have to admit that although I gave this 5 stars, I am not fully remembering why I liked it so much. I just know that the writing style is really nice. I really liked the main character. And the magic system was really cool. So then you have 3 things, you read it really fast, you like everything in it, and it keeps you excited. I also knew it was quite like a first book in a series book. So I need to read the rest to know if I love the whole series, obviously. The second book was my favorite read of 2021, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which is also very red. Maybe not the front, but the rest. This is, I wouldn't say a retelling. It is more of an elaboration on the Greek mythology. So if you know Greek mythology, you know Achilles and you know his story. But we're now seeing his story from a perspective that wasn't written in the original Greek mythology. It was only suggested, and there are parts where these characters are meeting and the stories are told, but it is almost never that you really see them together or you know what their connection is like. So Madeline Miller, who actually gives Greek and Latin on a high school, didn't ruin the story or anything. She stayed with the story. She just thought of things that her fantasy, her imagination created of the blanks that the Greek mythology left. And I loved it. It's written so lyrical and I love Greek mythology and this was just perfect. I have tried to do a lot of different genres in this video because I had so many choices for read books. So the next one is actually a classic, a Russian classic, which is, well, something different. He's actually Ukrainian, by the way, I think. But The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. This is a magical realism classic, and it is complicated. But it's one of those classics that even though it's complicated, and I wouldn't say I understand everything, I understand the most things that are in here. And the writing style is just so cool. You still want to know how the plot is going, even though it's not about the plot. It's about all the metaphors in here. It's about Russian society, because it does take place in Moscow. And I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars, while my friends all gave it 5 stars, because they also didn't understand, but they thought it was so cool that they gave it 5 stars. I was like, okay, I can't give this 5 stars if I don't understand the actual meaning, but I just really liked it. So I would highly recommend you to read this if you are into classics, but it's not an easy one to start with. Then a book that I recently read, and is a fantasy again, but this time a very adult one. It's The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. Again, a very interesting magic system, which seems to interest me the most when we have like epic fantasies. Well, the world is also really important, but just like the setting, the fantasy setting, if that doesn't click with me, I don't like it. But if it clicks with me, the characters can have a lot of mistakes and the plot can have a lot of mistakes. But if like the world, the creation is very cool, then I'm in. So this one made me think of, well, what does it make me think of? I don't even know. I just thought it to be very entertaining. I flew through it. I literally read this in one day. It was because I wanted to read one book in that day, like that was my only goal. But it is 450 pages and I just read it in one go. So that does show how much I liked it. And then a book that I didn't really like per se, so I might should have chosen another book. But I'm doing so anyway because I think a lot of you might like it. This is House of Earth and Blood, the first part in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas is not my favorite author. I think a lot of her books to be meh. But they're never bad, in my opinion. They just don't deserve the hype, in my opinion. This one is 800 pages of adult fantasy. And I liked it. But 800 pages was way too much. This could have been done in 300, literally. The first 200 pages, almost 200 pages, are spoiled on the back. And the back is only like this. So that already tells you that the first 200 pages shouldn't have to exist. Like, you can tell them as a backstory in like one little chapter. And also they're trying to solve a murder and they keep doing a lot of things that don't actually add something to the final result, which I always hate in those cases. So I know this doesn't sound like a recommendation, but it still is, because it also has like a little bit of romance. It's like fantasy, adult fantasy, but not for people that want to start with fantasy, you know? Because it has that world, but it's not really the main focus. I think that's why I wanted to recommend it. And it's one of the most pretty read books I own. I think that is also part of the deal. And now for the 5 books that I still plan on reading. The first one is All the Girls I've Been by Tess Sharpe. It's called Mijn Vele Gezichten in Dutch. I actually won this book and I haven't read it since. So I don't really know that much about it, but I think it's like an assassin or a criminal at least. And every time that this criminal girl almost gets caught, she changes her name and identity and starts over. But now people are looking for her and she's in danger. And she is trying to find out who she is and what she's actually doing with her life. It's a very read book, that's why it's in here, but it's also like, I've won this book more than a year ago, so I need to read it. Then a book that I need to read in December already because it is a review copy. The Beenderband by Rani the Vadder. This is the second part in the duology De Gifgenoten. The first part was called De Gifgave. I really liked the first part, mostly because it was morally grey. I like this because, hello, pretty drawings in here. And I really don't know where she's going with the story, the author, I mean. So reading the final part in this duology is intriguing me. And that is cool because it is a review copy. I need to read it soon. And it is read as well. So very soon, hopefully. Then a book that I also want to read very soon because it is a book club pick is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This has been everywhere on any social media book related. And everyone just feels like it is a nice, cozy murder mystery YA. It's apparently about a boy who was charged with murder, but this girl a few years later doesn't believe he did it, so she's doing her research for school projects on this murder, and then things happen, obviously. Doesn't maybe look that red, but I am always looking at the spines because that is how they are in my bookcase, and this one is very red. So yeah, can't wait to read it. I think it will be a quick read and I want to know what all the hype is about. So yes, I'm excited, but I have been in a reading slump, so it's not going well. And that's why I haven't started it yet, but maybe soon. Then the next one is actually a cheating one. It even has a sticker on there. Why didn't I get it off? While I still could. What was wrong with me back then? Anyway, I read this book, I think 4 or 5 years ago, but it was before I started reviewing my books. And I only talk normally about books that I reviewed, because then I know my opinion a little bit more elaborate than just, oh, I like that. So I want to reread this before I read the second part. And rereading is also like on my TBR. So that is why I'm showing you this book. It is The Rosie Project by Graeme Simsion. This book I really liked. I gave it 5 stars the first time, so I hope I will do so the second time. It is about an autistic man and you follow his journey with falling in love with a woman from his head, and it's really hilarious and cute and wholesome, and everything about it is really nice. So I can't wait to actually reread this. I plan on doing that like halfway through next year, I think. It is like on my ordered TBR, and we're not yet there, but we're getting there. And the last book that I want to read very soon, but I am probably not going to do, it is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. And this one is partly read, and I wanted to name it because it is also a classic that I know that not that much about. Like, I know he's on an island. That is almost everything I know. So that is strange. I own this book and I need to read it. It's part of a classic series that I bought all at once. There were 5 copies. It was actually a beer brand that decided that they were going to republish 5 timeless classics in this beautiful edition. And you got it for free when you bought beer. So I actually bought a lot of beer and then got 5 books. I mean, the beer is like, you can hold it for a long time. So it isn't like a waste of beer, and I got the books. So I have Alice in Wonderland, The Three Musketeers, 80 Miles Below the Sea, Don Quixote, and this one, Robinson Crusoe. So really excited to read this. It's only partially read, but I needed to mention it. There are a lot of videos coming. I hope you look forward to my Christmas month, because there are a lot of fun videos coming. I thought this was a nice introduction because red is very much Christmas feeling for me. I also hope you liked it, and if you did, please leave a like. Leave down in the comments below which color you want to see next or which is your favorite red book. That's also very interesting for me to know. I hope you'll have a lovely day filled with books, and I'll see you all in my next video, which is actually tonight. Bye. You have no idea how excited I was to get all these red books out of my bookcase. It makes no sense, I know, but it's just, you grab some books that you usually don't really get to, and I was really excited to show them to you.